huge fall in gas prices coming? They're edging down slowly right now in the middle of August. But a new report suggests that if we slip into another recession, there could be an oil surplus, bringing prices down at the pump significantly. Is this a silver lining to an otherwise grim economy? Here now to discuss are my freedom fighters, Fox Business anchor, and my colleague Jerry Willis. Erica Payne, Agenda Project founder, and Camille Foster, America's Future Foundation chair. Erica, to you first. Did the president have to release all those gallons from the strategic oil reserve? Wasn't that a political stunt rather than an effort to reduce prices, which came down anyway?
Well, the fact of the matter is when he does something like that, regardless of what party a president is in, when they do something like that, it's sort of an artificial bump to the market, because at the end of the day, the countries in OPEC can decide to lower the supply if they want to, and that'll drive the prices up.
Why have oil prices gone down, Jerry Willis?
Well, I'm telling you that the economy is not doing well. I think that's been the main cause here. Look, $3.60 a gallon gas is cold comfort to people who are facing 9.2% unemployment. If you think that's going to be a big deal in the election, forget it. There are bigger issues.
So sometimes good things can happen when we have markets like this, Camille, because people are able to afford products that they couldn't afford before. Stated differently, sometimes the law of supply and demand actually works, right?
Yeah, I mean, the demand is sagging here, and that's what the real problem is. Talking about this strategic petroleum reserve, I mean, he released, what, 30 billion barrels? I think we use about 20 billion a day at the end of the day. Million? Not billion, million. I mean, that's absolutely nothing. It's a drop in the barrel.
Do you think that President Obama is actually unhappy to see gas prices go down? And if you think that, why?
Well, the president and his energy secretary have been bemoaning these low prices in the United States for a very long time. They want us to have high gasoline prices like the countries in Europe so that he can promote green technologies.
That's actually preposterous.
He said it.
That's actually preposterous.
Why do you say it's preposterous?
Because there's not a person on the planet who wants higher energy prices for suffering American families right now. I mean, I think that what's happening that people refuse to understand is that OPEC gets to decide what the prices are, and we're beholden to that group of people.
If the government really wanted lower prices on gasoline, why wouldn't they get rid of the taxes? In New Jersey and New York and Hawaii and California, it's 88 cents a gallon, state, local, and federal.
Absolutely. Why don't we drill more? Well, I mean, you could change those rules too and get more drilling accomplished, and you wouldn't be facing these high gas prices.
Do you accept the argument, Jerry Willis, that's made by Camille Foster, that the president wants gas prices high so that people will go to electric cars?
It's part of the president's plan to pick policy over people. He chooses policy directives that he likes that make for green environmental policy, and then lets the people
That's not
make
true.
their way.
I mean, conservatives continue to, send soldiers overseas to make sure that we have access to oil. If God wanted us to have oil in the ground, I think he would have put it a little higher up and make it a little easier to get to, the fact of the matter.
Tell me if I'm wrong. You and your colleagues would rather we were in some sort of vehicles in which we were not dependent on fossil fuels, right?
What I would much prefer is that energy was priced appropriately based on how much it actually costs. So we are currently providing a lot of subsidies to oil companies.
We're also providing a lot of subsidies to all of the companies.
Before we
soldiers' lives around the world.
Got it. Before we switch topics, Camille, is there a free market anywhere?
Is there a free market anywhere?
No. All right. That's something we can all agree on. Switching gears, the Obama administration has come up with another strategy for stabilizing the housing market. This one's insane. Never mind everything it's done has failed to the tune of untold billions. Now it's looking to sell the hundreds of thousands of foreclosed homes it owns to private investors, and those investors would be required to rent them. Will this work any better than what's never worked before, Jerry Willis?
I followed all these programs. None of them have worked. Whether they were proposed by George Bush or President Obama, they have been failures, utter failures. And this particular program is kind of weird. I got to tell you.
It is weird.
Fannie and Freddie have about 1 million homes on their books. They don't know what to do with them. The problem is, how do you get them into the marketplace without depressing prices? But the reality is, this kind of business has always been led by small-time entrepreneurs who do it one house at a time, because it's not an easy business to be in. For the Obama administration to say, hey, let's bring in some hedge fund here or some big institutional investors is preposterous.
Camille, isn't this a structural problem with the government? It's not a Republican problem or a Democrat problem. Both Congresses and both presidents, that is, from both parties, have done this. What the heck are Fannie and Freddie doing owned by the government? What are they doing in the business of owning real estate? Why should they be saddled with these prices? Why should the taxpayers have to pick up these foreclosed homes when banks loaned money to people that they should have known couldn't pay back the loans?
I wish I had an easy answer for you. There isn't one. If the government really wanted to do something to help, they would stop propping up home prices so that the market could actually settle. The president has prolonged the pain and deepened the recession that we're in. He has made matters worse, and this policy is bound to fail. It's a price control. Plain and simple.
Does it make sense for the government to turn to the same banks, many of whose profligacy caused these problems? Now I'm sounding like you. In the first place, Erica?
Sounds like you. No. I don't think it does. And in this case, I agree with y'all. I think that what they're trying to accomplish, though, is, if you let the housing market crash too quickly, it will crash, and that's going to be a problem, too. I don't personally think having these 250,000 homes run by the government is a good idea.
Do I have this right, Jerry? Did the same government agency that now says these things have to be leased, were they bulldozing them or burning them a few weeks ago because they couldn't sell them and nobody wanted to live in them?
That was actually one of the biggest banks in the country who decided to do that, and we've seen that happen as places like Detroit have just, completely fallen apart. Look, there are no easy solutions to this. Everybody wants a one-stop shopping solution. Right. There is none.
What should we do, Camille?
Well, you can't avoid the pain. I think that the government has to get out of the way. The president at one point seemed as if he was prone to close down Fannie and Freddie. Let's get the government out of housing. The government is still the #1 realtor in the country. That can't work.
Would you, progressive that you are, accept that argument, Erica Payne?
I actually co-edited a volume called Make Markets Be Markets that talked about that, and getting rid of Fannie and Freddie was one of the recommendations. The question is, how quickly do you do it? And keep in mind, the government is also the reason that we have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which they don't have in any other country. So there's a lot of propping up that's happening, some of which is politically.
We just have a few seconds. What's on their books, Fannie and Freddie? It's got to be in the trillions.
All our money. Taxpayer dollars. And just the other week, Fannie asked for more money, billions of dollars. It's an endless supply of dollars they're asking from taxpayers, and increasingly taxpayers, they want to say no.
Jerry Willis, Camille Foster, Erica Payne. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's been a long day for you, Jerry. Love you.
Thank you.
Back with why the government's policies to fix today's crises only fuel tomorrow's catastrophes. Next.